We just want our respect. Rob wants his respect. Coach Vogel wants his respect. Our organization want their respect. Laker Nation want their respect. And I want my damn respect too.
I want my respect too. Words from LeBron James. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an edition of Breaking Through the Glass Ceilings with Uncomfortable Conversations. Brian H. Waters here. If you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you tell your friends about it. Let's get the word going. I like to have uncomfortable conversations where I just discuss trending topics and give my thoughts on them. A lot of times it may not be popular, but also check out the episodes where I highlight a lot of my friends and people I've met along the way on this great journey called life. A lot of journalists and producers here, but also have some musicians, some agents. So make sure you check that out. I sat here Sunday evening and I watched the Los Angeles Lakers win title number 17. Now, if anybody knows me, if they know me, they know there are two teams that I really love. That's the Baltimore Orioles and the Los Angeles Lakers. I love the Ravens, and I used to love the Cowboys. But those are two teams that kind of like everybody like, if you know what I mean. If you're in Baltimore, most people are Ravens fans. If you're in football, most people are, in football, most people are Cowboys fans or Cowboys haters. For me, while there are a lot of Lakers fans, there was a lot of times where I sat on that hill by myself. I go back to high school, and this is in the thick of the Kobe and Shaq era, and it always felt there was more Laker haters. I watched people root for the Sixers in 2001. That's my freshman year. The following year, everybody suddenly became a Kings fan. Then the year after that, that was the year they lost, but everybody was happy. They rejoiced. Suddenly they were Spurs fans. And then, some Kings fans still lingered. And then the following year, they were Timberwolves fans. Yeah, when they had that run. But to see LeBron James come to my favorite team is something that I just can't describe that feeling. Now, I'm not going to say I've always been the biggest LeBron James fan. Let me make myself clear. I was a Kobe Bryant fan. Die hard. Everybody knows that. Shed tears when he passed away. There's a reason that he's number 824 is right here on this show. But I have to admit, one of the dangerous things was being such a Kobe fan that I could miss out on greatness. To be honest with you, I defended Kobe so much, I was not able to fully appreciate the Allen Iverson era of the early 2000s. Yeah, I thought he was good. But when I would watch AI games, he ain't better than Kobe. Same with T-Mac. It was going to be that way with LeBron, honestly. Now, I wasn't a fan of the decision because him going to Miami, I said, man, they creating a big three. We already know they're going to be in the finals. Now, of course, me thinking, they're going to see the Lakers in the finals. The Lakers were on a downward spiral. That's why this championship meant so much. But when he lost the first one, I was like, see, you shouldn't have left. Then he won the second one. I remember watching at some point, because I was rooting for OKC. Like I said, I wasn't hating on him. I just didn't like the fact that everybody jumped to become a Miami Heat fan. And then all of a sudden people say, I've been a Heat fan. I always liked Dwayne Wade. Now, Dwayne Wade is likable, but come on. Miami, most people during, let's say 2009, 2010, were Lakers and Celtics fans and LeBron James fans. Miami was, I'm going to call it for what it is. A lot of times the ladies like Miami because Dwayne Wade was somebody that they liked. But all of a sudden, all those people became Miami fans. They were box office, but not what they would become. So I was just like, man, I rooted against him. But then it dawned, I was like, I can't keep hating on his greatness. And I watched him win. And I said, you know what? Congratulations. Now, the following 2 years, I wanted the Spurs to be. Like I said, I didn't want to see him constantly win. So, watching this, like I said, I wasn't happy. But I was happy when he left. I wanted, quote unquote, order to be restored in the NBA. I wanted balance to be restored. He goes back to Cleveland. Now I'm rooting heavy for him because I want to see him make promise on a delivery. And I started thinking, I said, you know, as the Lakers won this championship, I tweeted the other day, why do people hate LeBron James so bad? And I thought about it. I said, you know, I'm going to do a show. Stop letting these broadcasters, stop letting these magazine-style shows cause you to hate LeBron James. We are witnessing something great. We saw The Last Dance during the pandemic. And as we watched that, we saw the greatness of Michael Jordan. For some fans, they lived it. Me, I lived the second half. I remember the second half of him winning championships. Now, anybody who knows me, they would think I would be contradicting when I said I was a big Jordan fan. I was. 96 through 98, you know, I was cheering for the Bulls because to me, that's what everybody did. It was weird hearing people say they didn't like the Bulls. Granted, I wasn't into a lot of barbershop conversations. So, you know, around kids my age, everybody was Bulls fans. Now, I sat there and I said, as time moved along, yeah, obviously I would become a Kobe fan. There were other players I like more, and probably because I saw their careers more. But I've always said that if there was social media during that time, I would wonder what the hate would be like. How many people would hate Michael Jordan? And it just bothers me that you got people like Skip Bayless who makes a living on hating on LeBron James. Me and my friend Ashley Baker, who's a certified LeBron hater on the court, was talking and we were saying, man, Skip and LeBron probably real cool in real life. Who knows? And I'm going to call Ashley out. We had this conversation. I said to her, like, why do you hate LeBron so much? Oh, because he whines. Okay, I've heard that. People say they don't like how he whines about calls. He's not the only athlete to do that. Earth to everybody. If you watch 10 to 12 basketball games, all of the games that's on per day, you're going to see all the stars argue about calls. You know, you see Michael Jordan do it. If you play street ball, people always yelling, come on, yo, that's a foul, man. That's a foul. It happens. I played rec ball. And then when I played in the ESPN League, my star player, shout out to my boy, Luis Bache. Luis would always want for calls. But I was on his team, so of course I ride with him. But I would hear people, you know, the person I would be guarding, man, stop yelling, stop whining. So, you know, I'm a teammate. I wanted to play the Artest role, so I might bump him a little bit during the game. You know, stop talking about my teammate. That's what happens. I've heard he jumps from team to team, ring chasing. Well, guess what? Let me tell y'all something. Just like our parents' generation will get a job and stay there forever, and for everybody who's, you know, the primary target of this podcast, if you work at a job, 9 times out of 10, it's not your first or your last in your career. I worked at ESPN, folks. I worked there for 2 years. There were a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people who left. High turnover ratio. I mean, look at the sports announcers. Y'all don't get on Skip Bayless from jumping from ESPN to Fox Sports. Y'all don't get on Colin Cowherd from jumping from ESPN to Fox Sports. They were free agents. LeBron made a decision. And while as a basketball fan, I didn't like it, I couldn't criticize him. And maybe I did at the time. But I'm not going to criticize him. You want to play with your friends, right? Most people want to work with their friends. I'm going to tell you. When I left ESPN, a lot of us said, hey man, if you get such and such, look out for me. You mean it? Like, I'm telling you, if there's an opportunity where you could bring one of your friends on board, you're going to do it if y'all in the same field. So why not go play with your friends? Some of those same people criticize Kevin Durant. Now, and like I said, as a basketball move, I did it. Yeah, I didn't like Kevin Durant leaving the Thunder to go to the Warriors because we had just got rid of this. We had just got done with this big three mess with Miami for 4 years or 2. Was it 2? Maybe it was 3. 2 years. We had just got finished. All of a sudden, he joins the Warriors. Here we go again. And let's be real, for us video game players, us gamers, you're thinking that's what they're gonna be doing on TNT. On 2K, people going to be playing just with the Warriors. It was annoying, but at the same time, they earned that right. Adam Jones had an opportunity to allow the Orioles to trade him to go to a contender because they were in the rebuild phase. And he had the no trade clause. And that's something that you have to earn. Not everybody gets a no trade clause. You have to earn that. And you've heard some players even say they put in their contract, don't trade me to a certain place. Torrey Hunter said he told them don't ever trade him to Boston because he didn't want to deal with the racist fans that in Boston, in the Red Sox. So Adam Jones, when the time came up, they wanted him to waive his rights. He wouldn't. And the Orioles fans was mad because they was like, well, we can get some pieces for him and he can go to a contender. But his point was, I earned it and I'm not going to do it. And he said a lot of people thanked him. Thank you for not doing that. Because it sets up, just lets people know. One of the things that stood out to me was Jeannie Buss. She signed when she signed Kobe to a big deal, and a lot of people did not like it. It was painful. They said, well, why would she sign him to that much money? He's an aging player. And her reason is we got to take care of our own. Everybody knows Kobe, Laker for life, born and bred in the franchise. Had some bumps along the way, of course. Times he wanted to leave, but, he was a Laker for life. And her long-term game was, it's going to make people want to come here. And the reason is, and I think that was key for LeBron going there. He saw how they took care of Kobe. Because that's the one thing we always say. Well, man, if they treat their own like this, how they going to treat me? So now they understood. But we as fans, a lot of times we get upset. And I'm going to even say the media, because everybody, they're fans too. These columnists, they're fans. And a lot of times we get upset for stuff that don't have nothing to do with us. So we would never understand. So when LeBron James went to Miami, yeah, I was mad. I was happy he went back to Cleveland. But I said, I can't continue to hate on this man. And that's what I said. It's time to give him his respect. I will say, and people know I can't stand Tom Brady. But I had to admit, when he came back against the Falcons, I always thought he was a product of a system quarterback. I said, Brady ain't that good. He just got Belichick. He's blessed with the same coach. He came back because that's a lot of will and determination to be able to come back from a lead like that. And I said, I cannot hate on this man any longer. He is the greatest quarterback I've seen. Patrick Mahomes. I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. Yes, because he plays with the Ravens, but I'm also a fan of the player and the man. Patrick Mahomes is his biggest nemesis right now. He's the one everybody compares him to. That's like the rivalry, but not the rivalry. You had the Cowboys and the 49ers. You had the Colts and the Patriots, the Ravens and the Steelers. And it looked like it's going to be the Ravens and the Chiefs. That's what we're hoping. But right now, the Ravens can't get over that hump. And I had to say to myself, I will not fall into this where I will hate on this man because I love this one so much. Let's go to go back to a few episodes. I had my boy Cassius Fleming on here. Cash is one of the most realest dudes I know. Straight to the point. Will literally give you the shirt off his back. When it comes to this business, it's a lot of cutthroat individuals. But when it comes to Cassius, he's just like a straight up What you need, I got you. If I can't help you, I'm gonna let you know, and I'll try to help you. You know, just and he's somebody who's like born, raised in New York, but he doesn't come off as arrogant. I know that's a lot of people say that. I know for me personally, I have a lot of friends who are from New York. I've learned in my working life that there are people I either love or hate from New York. But, you know, as I've gotten older, it's more love, right? But Cash said on the episode, a lot of times we want to build up somebody else in an argument and debate. We did it in school that we will tear down another man, and it's something we got to get away from. And that's the way I look at it. Now, Jimmy Butler during the NBA Finals was giving me a headache. Folks, I ain't going to lie. I was nervous, and I was like, man, like, I wanted the Lakers to win this so bad for so many reasons. I was nervous when they lost Game 5. But so for them to come out in Game 6 and blow them out, it was like, relax. You know, it was very relaxing. But I was like, of course I would say Jimmy Butler can't do this. Or you want to say stuff like he ain't that good to beat the Lakers because you want to build up your guy. I would always say stuff like, well, he don't pass the ball. And we was like, Kobe don't pass the ball. Well, you know, or XYZ. But that's the thing, folks. We got to stop doing that. We don't have to tear down another individual to build someone else up. You know, I think if God would allow Aaliyah to still be living, maybe people would be doing that between her and Beyonce. People would be tearing down Beyonce to build up Aaliyah, or tearing down Aaliyah to build up Beyonce. We don't know. But that's the thing. Don't let the media cause you to continue to hate LeBron James. Because I guarantee you, if anybody had an opportunity to walk in his shoes, you wouldn't think twice about it. If you love basketball that much and you had an opportunity to be on magazines at 16, selected number 1 overall by your hometown team, come into the league, dominate, and then if you have some of the issues, the hardships along the way, to get an opportunity to go play on the same team as your best friend in a warm city, Joakim Noah said it. Nobody goes on vacation to Cleveland. This man, when he returned to Cleveland, was responsible for $2 million in the economy. Just think about that. A $2 million increase from one man, a black man. And then when he left, he said he was never going to leave again. But then, you know, there was issues from what I heard and read in the front office. You know, his GM got fired, and the owner wanted to, you know, be the big shot. You know, you win one championship and you don't know how to act. And truth be told, he overcame a lot because they could have beaten Golden State the first year. 2 of his players get hurt. His best players, his wingman. They end up losing. They come back next year down 3-1. They win. Then Kevin Durant signs. That was just too tall of a task. And he decides to go to Los Angeles. Makes a career decision. And first thing people say, it's just about Hollywood. But he goes there. Puts on the Laker uniform. Pressure. Because you've been great everywhere else. Now you're expected to be great here. Think about this. Joe Montana played great with the 49ers. Won Super Bowl ring after Super Bowl ring. I think he won 4 championships, right? Goes to Kansas City. He's expected to do great things. Ends up getting them to the AFC Championship and losing. Peyton Manning was, you know, arguably the best quarterback of his generation. They decided to go in another direction. It makes me wonder, do they wish Andrew Luck would eventually leave prematurely? Do they wish they would have kept Peyton Manning? But he goes to Denver, gets to not 1 but 2 Super Bowls and wins one of them. So it's pressure, but he overcame the pressure. LeBron James was expected to put on the Laker uniform. You're coming after Kobe Bryant, arguably the greatest Laker of all time. I know some people say Magic, some people say Kareem, some people say Wilt. But you were expected. Because let's look at this, right? When Magic came, Magic and Kareem got there, it had been a while, if I'm not mistaken. It had been a while since Jerry and Wilt. Then it was a little break without Magic. Then here comes Shaq and Kobe. Then you had like those rough years where Kobe was declining, and it was about a 2-year break, but it was still fresh in the Kobe years. And here comes LeBron James, still in his prime, expected to win, expected to deliver, and he does. Why are you hating on this man? Now, I understand not being a fan. We don't have to, like everybody. But when people, they just choose to hate on him. And that's why I say he wants his respect. People just, they reach. Oh, well, first they say he couldn't shoot, LeBron passes too much. People criticize him for not shooting over 3 people when Danny Green, a 3-point specialist, was wide open. And guess what? All men are subject to fail. Nobody's perfect. So it was ridiculous that people even sent death threats. Markieff Morris threw a bad pass. If Markieff Morris shoots the ball, people might get mad. But if he shoots and makes it, who knows? Yeah, Robert Horry caught a rebound that Kobe and Shaq couldn't put the ball back in. But that's what he was doing. 3-point specialist. Michael Jordan passed to Pippen, who then kicked it out. The ball got to Paxson because he's a 3-point specialist. Michael Jordan passed to Steve Kerr because he knew that's his job. LeBron James did the right thing. Kobe passed to Ron Artest, now known as Metta World Peace. And he did what he was expected to do. So, I think that's it. I'm just looking at things, y'all. Y'all got to stop hating. It's time to stop hating. Put some respect on LeBron James' name. I'm not going to say we'll never see nothing like this again. No, we won't, because we'll never see another LeBron James. Somebody else will come. Even if they have the same path, they'll be their own man or their own woman. Kobe Bryant said, enjoy Mike's 6, enjoy my 5, and enjoy LeBron's quest. Because if they could have dinner today or right now, if Kobe was still here, Kobe, Michael, and LeBron would sit there, have dinner, and enjoy themselves and just reflect on their greatness and probably encourage LeBron. They might trade some fun jabs, but it's not going to be an argument. You see people arguing. I'll never forget this before I get out of here. When I was interning at the Baltimore Sun, shout out to my mentor, Kevin Richardson. It was at the Ravens-Steelers game. He said a couple of Ravens players and a couple of Steelers players were eating dinner together. And fans were looking like, what are y'all doing? And he said, look, this is, they're professionals. There's a thing called the draft. And if 2 people, for instance, Sunday's game, you had Joe Burrow, he got drafted to the Bengals. Patrick Queen got drafted to the Ravens. They were on the same team. They won a championship together. But then they went out there and they played football. And Patrick McQueen sacked him and caused him to fumble. But then afterwards, I'm pretty sure they shook hands because they're boys. Fans a lot of times get in these heated rivalries, these heated arguments over something that don't belong to them. It's one thing to not like a team as a unit, but when you get mad at, you could talk trash. I went to Boston, talked some trash. At the end, shook hands with the people. My Orioles were up there. And that's the thing about sports. Sports brings us together. You have your fun. You talk your trash. And then afterwards, you move on. Stop hating on LeBron James. People hated on Kobe. And now all of a sudden, everybody wants to give Kobe all the love and flowers. And to be fair, people will start to do that towards the end, and after retired, they saw the family man. They saw a different side of him. LeBron James said the most important things is getting kids educated. Tell me, why should you hate on that again? He's trying to get these kids educated, folks. He's trying to get these kids educated. He's trying to change the world. He's using this platform to change the world so that children will have an opportunity to learn and be better. He looked at the ages. Following the footsteps of Jalen Rose. Looking at the ages where they guess prison numbers. And he said, let's be at a solution. Let's start right here. LeBron James, folks, 4-time NBA champion, 4-time finals MVP, 3 different teams, the Miami Heat, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and now the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't care what y'all say. To me, LeBron James, greatest of all time. You take it what you want to do with it. Until the next time, folks, Brian H. Waters signing off. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you tell your friends about it. Thank you, and I'm out. This podcast is brought to you by B. Waters Productions. It is produced and edited by myself, Brian H. Waters, with the music brought to you by Hypnosis. You can find Hypnosis on Instagram at hypno_beats.